Hi, today I'll be covering the picking pattern and chord progression for Ain't No Sunshine by Bywater. We'll be using the chords A minor, E minor, G and D minor. I'll begin by doing a lesson describing the picking pattern that's for a more experienced beginner, but at the end of the lesson I'll run through a simplified picking pattern. I'll do a playthrough first and then we'll break it down. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. I'll go through each chord separately and the picking pattern that accompanies it. The first chord is an A minor. The picking pattern for the A minor chord begins with the thumb on the A string, plays downwards, and then we have the first finger on the G string and the middle finger on the B string. They play together, so they both hit at the same time. We're going to pull those strings upwards slightly so we get that nice harmony. So just practice that. Thumb, fingers. And the main thing with this is to work at getting a nice even tone. So for the A minor chord, we'd do this twice. One and two and. So it's a nice little rocking motion. One and two and. The next chord we go to is an E minor chord. So it's a nice easy chord change because we can pivot on this middle finger that can stick to the string, to the D string, and the first finger here can spin round and land on the A string, 2nd fret, to the E minor chord. The picking pattern for the E minor chord, the thumb moves to the E string, but the fingers, the two fingers we used previously, stay on the G string and the B string. And it's the same picking pattern. But for the E minor, we just do this once. After that, we have a nice chord change to G. So we can leave this first finger here on the A string. We bring our middle finger to the top string, to the E string. And then for the G chord in this song, we don't actually need the bottom two fingers on. So I'm just going to play the top two strings here. And the thumb is going to play exactly the same as what it did for the E minor chord. So we've got the thumb on the E string, and the first two fingers again play the G string and the B string. So they stay on the same strings for these three chords. And for this chord, we again only play that once. Just the thumb and then the fingers. After the G, we return back to the A minor chord. But this time, we just play the picking pattern once. I often count along when I'm doing this and teaching this to people because it helps people to understand sometimes. So if we do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, that gives us the right time frame for the chords to ring out and for the chord changes. So what I do in the song now, or what happens in the song now, is it repeats that section again. We then go to E minor. The thumb and the fingers play exactly what they did last time, but we're going to count for 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we're going to jump to D minor, and this whole hand is going to move down. So the thumb now will be on the D string, and the 2 fingers here are going to play the B string and the E string. It's the same rhythm, we're just on different strings now. And then we go back to the original chord pattern. That's the first verse of the song. And what I'm going to do is play that through one more time for you in its entirety. So what I've covered today is verse 1 of the song. Verse 2 is exactly the same as verse 1, so just repeat what we've already done. The song then goes on to have a vocal interlude, which begins with an A minor chord, but then is just vocals. It then comes back round to end on a variation of what we've already covered. The thing to focus on today is clean, even chord changes. If you're pressing your chords down properly, the strings will ring out. The song's a gentle song, and a lot of the chords ring into each other. The picking pattern, so getting an evenness of tone and volume between the thumb and the fingers. That's something to really master. This brings me to a slightly easier picking variation that I wanted to share with you. It's just as effective. It sounds a little bit different, but you can get the rhythm exactly the same. Now, if you're just beginning to learn to play guitar, sometimes it's better to just try the easier version first so you can build up your rhythm and then graduate onto something a little bit more complex. So this picking variation will be using the thumb and the first finger. The thumb for the A minor chord is going to play the A, and the first finger is going to start on the B string and strum gently upwards, catching the G, possibly the D sometimes. It really doesn't matter. The main thing is that you get the idea of the chords and the split between the bass and the treble, the low and the high. So you still get that rocking motion. So we're going to apply that to the chords that we went through in the beginning. Thanks for watching today. I hope you enjoyed getting to grips with Ain't No Sunshine. It's a cracking song. See you next time.